sorry. I just realized that I wasn't being heard. Welcome here, and thank you for joining me. My name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. Today, we are looking at help. I want to stop flogging my children. And at the end of this session, you would learn why you're flogging your children. Are there alternatives? Is it possible to really stop flogging your children? If I stop flogging my children, will they be useless? All right, we've had all sorts of questions on our desk. And, people ask us, oh, what will happen and all of that. Are you a cane-wielding parent? Then this class is for you. You are that parent that only believes or always believes that, oh, once I beat my children, they realign. Some people will say in Nigerian Palace that, how do we say it? It resets the brain. If you're one of those parents and you're here, let me see you right in the comment section. All right, you are that brain resetting parent according to you. Let me see your comments in the comment section. Today, you will learn why this is not the best method and what you can do. Now, I like to usually tell people who listen to me that apart from sharing with you what you shouldn't do, we share what you should do. I'm hoping that it's back. All right. Okay, so my name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. The parents in the inner circle call me all different kinds of names, like VC. This was a shirt that I got from a parent. Yes, our VC is a legend. All right, so flogging and beating a child or any form of aggression will actually increase defiance. All right, so if you are any parent, you've been beating your child, you've been flogging your child, and you can see any improvement. Let me see you in the comment section. Now, this is what happens when you flog a child. They either recoil when you say, oh, they didn't do it again. They either recoil or they begin to do it behind you and you don't know that it's actually being done. Okay? And before you could even say Jack Robinson, everything begins to change. So is it that it causes what we call the 4 hours of negative discipline? Let me see the parents in the inner circle who read their books. What are the 4 hours of negative discipline? What can happen to a child? The 4 hours of negative discipline. All right, put that in the comment section while we keep going. Okay, so is it possible to stop flogging your child? Won't they become irresponsible? I also get this question a lot of the times. I don't hit my children. They are nothing near irresponsible. My parents didn't believe in flogging us. We are nothing near irresponsible. I've seen countless parents who have raised their children without having to hit them, and they are not irresponsible. We're 5 in my family. We're nothing near irresponsible. If anything, we're very impactful to our world. All right? Rebellion, yes, a parent is naming. The 4 hours of negative discipline: revenge, retreat, resent, and rebellion. Yay! So we just read this book in the inner circle, Connect to Correct. Let me see if I can get a copy around me. That's in case you're listening to me for the first time. Okay? Thank you. All right, so Connect to Correct. In Connect to Correct, I shared what can happen to your child when you begin to correct wrongly. 4 things can happen. Your child can either revenge, your child can retreat, your child can resent you, or your child can begin to rebel. Now, what does it mean to revenge? Your child is going to have, the mindset of, I will do it again. What can happen? Or rebellion. Sometimes you're hitting a child, the child collects the cane from you. I tell parents that, the day my friend told me the story of how she took the cane from her mother in SS2, as in, I was like, what? This, my friend, is a medical doctor, by the way. And, smart everything. You couldn't have actually ever expected that from her. And she said, that was the last time my mom raised the cane, because she was like, what? So at that point, the child might actually want to, rebel or even, fight back. All right? This is a natural instinct, okay? It doesn't mean that the child is a devil. So don't even get it wrong. And then the child might also just, retreat. And that's where you begin to see children who have self-esteem issues. And today we have quite a number of people who have self-esteem issues. You know something, you can't come out and say. It's self-esteem issues. And quite a number of us do not even understand that these issues are actually very real. So if you've not read Connect to Correct, we just finished reading it today. That was the book of the month for January in the Inner Circle program. And yes, it was, amazing. Now let's go. So I realized that parents flog children to discipline their children. So if you're a cane-wielding parent, you agree with me that the reason why you're hitting your child is because you want your child to be disciplined. Am I right? Am I correct? It's for the sake of this. So your child does something wrong. What you do is that you hit that child because, of course, what you're looking at is actually to discipline that child. Now, but the question will be, what is discipline? Now, that's a real question. And when you actually hit that child, does it really correct what you're looking for? Does anything really change? Do your children begin to do things differently? Now, that's the conversation of the day. What exactly happens after you hit that child? Why do you have to beat a child again and again and again and again? There must be something wrong. If you have to hit the child and the child doesn't really listen, let's run because we have quite a lot to cover today. Now, what is discipline? Discipline is structure. Without structure, you don't have discipline. Somebody help me write that in the comment section. Discipline is structure. Without structure, there is no discipline. Quite a number of parents will reach out to me to say, oh, I've tried. I'm always beating. My children are now too stubborn. They will be stubborn. They would, react to it because you are not using the right tool to actually get it where it is that you need to get to. Now, discipline is a parent problem. So sorry about that. I got logged out a bit. Thank you so much. Now, I was saying that discipline is a parent's problem, is not a child's problem. When you make discipline a child's problem, you get frustrated. And that's what gets you to the point of hitting a child. Let me say that again. Discipline is a parent's problem, it's not a child's problem. I know it's very difficult to swallow what I'm saying now. And you're wondering, what are you saying? The child is the one that needs to be disciplined. No. If there is a problem with the disciplinary system, all right, on your parenting journey, look inwards. It is a parent problem because discipline is structure. Who creates structure? It's not the child. So when you don't pass a child through structure, discipline is not, there's no discipline at all. And when you really look at it, ask yourself, am I really disciplined like I claim? Last Tuesday I was sharing with you, and I said, yeah, most of us claim we're very disciplined. Oh yeah, we're the start, but we beat traffic lights. We can't stay in lines. We can't finish a book. And yet, discipline for us just means aggression. That's not discipline. So the moment you find out that, oh, your children can watch TV from morning to night non-stop, they're not disciplined about anything, there's something wrong with the structure of your home. Now, what exactly is discipline? I usually like to use the definition of what happens in my home to define discipline. The twins are going to be 13 in a few days. And since the past 3 years plus, since they started cooking, manning the kitchen single-handedly without our input, every time the twins are home, there is food on the table in the evening. I have never had to call my children to say, oh, if you don't have, you make sure that you put food. No, that's structure. When you put structure in place, your children just follow through. It aligns. Now, when you get into the inner circle, part of what we do in the inner circle is to help you model through structures. How do we create structures? We start with the family, media plan, the family meetings, the family values, and then we just pass you through a home where things work. Unfortunately, quite a number of us in our homes, it's just anything, anywhere belief face, like they say it in Nigerian palace. If you're not Nigerian, it means anything that wants to happen. Let it just happen. So that's what support structure is. And that's why I say that discipline is parents' problem, is not a child's problem. When you make it a child's problem, you become dissatisfied. You become aggressive because your child can't deliver on what you're asking your child to deliver on. Now, we must pay attention to our connection strategies and see parenting as relationship, all right, instead of as an obligation. Now, one of the things that happen to our relationship with our parents is that most of our parents, we visit them out of obligation. Shouldn't be. Our visit to our parents should be because I'm really missing my mom. I just want to go and just spend time. But many of us visit our parents out of obligation. Let me just visit them. Or I've not even called them for a while. Let me just call. Most of us don't want to call our parents out of the fact that we just want to talk to them and just gist. Many of us just see it as an obligation. I'm obligated to call my parents. Why not we begin to see it as a relationship you build? See, the people you have relationship with, your friends, you just want to pick up a phone when something happens to you. The first person you call is that friend that you're close to. Hey, do you know what happened and all of that? How many of us really call our parents when the first thing happens to us? Yeah, there are some people who have been able to develop that relationship, but how many of us? Now, that's a very key aspect of your journey. What makes a child want to spend time with you, aside obligation, is the connection you build. That is a connection you build. So it's not just the obligation. If not, you're going to raise children that are obligated to you, just like you're obligated to them. So your obligation, people tell me that, it's my obligation to send them to school, to give them money. That's obligation. You're not building any relationship. You forget that your children are going to become adults. And then when they become adults, you're looking for a relationship that you didn't build. You don't build it, you don't get it. Parenting is seed time and harvest. It is what you put in, that's what you harvest. You can't plant corn and want cassava. Unfortunately, that's what most of us do. You plant corn, you want cassava as harvest. You don't plant empathy. You want your children to be empathic to you. How? You use all the aggression. Now, today's conversation came up from the numerous questions that I have come on my coaching table. How do I manage flogging? Won't my children become irresponsible? So people even hear me and then they run off and they say, we have stopped flogging our children, but our children have become worse. Your children will become worse if you do not pay attention to working on yourself. Because it will now be like ice cream, where you're now, by all means, looking for a way for your children to just love you, just like that. I was having a webinar with the parents in the inner circle on Saturday in level 1. I was teaching them about creating a social roadmap for your Gen Z. You're not in the inner circle. You do yourself a whole world of disservice. I'm not even lying to you, because what you're going to hear here are tips and hacks. So I would encourage you, use that link right in the description and book a slot for the inner circle and get in for the next cohort. We start on the 1st of December 2023. And while you're at it, attend courses, start building yourself. That's the only way to actually begin to do things differently. All right? I'm saying it without mincing words. All right? So, and we were having that conversation, and I told them, I said, there's a way to these things. You just hear, and then you run off, and you do not understand that there's a program, there's a process. Please do not copy display. The moment you copy, they said we should not flog our children. And if you have not learned any other thing apart from flogging your child, please continue to flog your child. Please, I'm begging you. So that you don't say that yellow coach told you sometime, you heard her, and that she said we should not flog our children. We should just allow them to do what they want. Sometimes parents come to me and say, since I heard you, I have been allowing my children to do what they've become worse. Who told you that allowing your children to do what they want is intentional parenting? Who told you? Intentional parenting is harder than you can think. Go and ask the parents who are on the journey. Hard. When I say hard, is hard. It's not easy. It's thinking. It takes a lot of more of your energy. See, flogging a child is very easy. Quote me anywhere. And you can flog, just pack, and just go. All right. So it's important that you understand that there are other things that you need to do so that you're not just running off. Now, is it possible to raise a child without flogging the child? Yes. The answer is yes. Several people have succeeded at it. I've never owned a cane in my house. My children, one of the first things that you're going to pick when you meet them is their level of responsibility quotient. Their level of responsibility quotient. And this is very important to us. All right? Very, very important to us. Okay, so so never, ever in your life believe that because, oh, you're not flogging your children will become useless. People even quote all sorts of things. You quote the scripture upside down because that thing you quote is not in the scripture, for your information. All right. And then the scripture talks about the rod. It doesn't talk about a rod. Why are you not carrying a rod to hit a child? And many people who are actually wielding the cane are actually, raising children they are struggling with. So what doesn't that show you that there's something wrong somewhere? So the rod is actually the tools, all right? Not just you being, okay? All right, somebody's asking me, what does VC stand for? It stands for Vice Chancellor. That's what the parents in the inner circle call me, all right? So they call me Vice Chancellor, yeah, of the Intentional Parent Academy. Okay, now, why do you hit your children? Let's start from there. All right, somebody said, only parents in the inner circle will understand coach's prophecies. That's the truth. Let's start from there, right? Number one, childhood trauma and experiences. That's one of the reasons you hit your child. That's one of the reasons you hit your child. Okay? Why parents were raised. The truth is that our parents were raised to survive, not to fulfill destiny. There's a lot of conversation around this. Survival was a theme. And you find out that many of them are just surviving. They just survived. And there's a lot of struggle in that generation. It's a generation that saw war. It's a generation that barely even understood themselves. A generation that were told that when they perm their hair, it's going to become, straight, and they jumped. A generation that was, at the heat of colonization. They were struggling to find themselves. Do you know that hitting a child is not even African? It's that generation, because that's what okay, sorry, I think I went out a bit. My network went off a bit. All right, great. You guys should join them. Okay, so it's not even what we know. I was talking about hitting a child. I shared that in the discipline that was. Go and do your research yourself. You don't need to listen to me. You don't need to believe me. Go and ask anybody who is more than 8 years to tell you really if hitting a child is really African. It's not. So when people say, oh, all this Oyibo teaching that which Oyibo teaching, what are you talking about? It's not anything. It's just, these are principles of raising a child. Now, so our parents lacked stress management skills because they were just surviving. Building skills were not something that was paramount to them. Our parents lacked stress management skills. They lacked emotional regulation skills. That's why they lashed out on you. They talked you down. They flogged you. Now, you do the same to your child, and you're thinking it's parenting strategy. No, it's trauma imprints. That's what you're doing. You're just living your trauma. Trauma is real. It's trauma imprint. You live out the same thing that was done to you. And then that's why you say things like, it was done to me, I didn't die. Why is it even a big deal? Yeah, you say things like that. It's trauma. Trauma is real. If you don't stop it, it will stop you. That's one of the things that I tell the parents in the inner circle. If you don't stop trauma, it will stop you. It will stop you. And then those strategies, you now say, oh, this is my parenting strategy. All these things that they're sharing here, that's my own strategy. I don't care what they are telling people in the academy. My strategy is what my parents built. Your parents were traumatized. Most of our parents, including mine, were traumatized people. And then we are bringing this thing, and that's what I call generational, what's it called? Generational trauma. All those generational trauma, the thing just keeps imprinting, going back and forth. And that's why you hit your child. You don't even know. So many of it that you do, you don't even know. They are just surviving. Thank you, Dr. Malala. They're just surviving. They just survived. All right? They just survived. And it's very key that we don't live out this life of where it is that we're coming from. I'll leave the rest for the parents in the inner circle. Number 2, you lack knowledge. Many times it's because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. That's why we hit children. Instructions are superior to opinion. It's the only way you're in the inner circle you understand this kind of words. You don't know what to do. See, when you do not know what to do, you get confused, you lash out. That's the truth. You get confused, you lash out. Number 3, you lack emotions control. You are irresponsible with your emotions. If you want, say, oh, this woman is so hard. She just talks to, she just hits you. Oh, how can she say that kind of thing? I'm being irresponsible with my emotions, but that's the truth. Sorry, I don't know how to cut corners and paint words. The parents in the other circle will tell you that it can get worse. Yeah. You lack emotional control. You don't know how to control your emotions. You're being irresponsible with your emotions. So anytime that it gets you here, you dump it on your child and then you move. It's a sad thing. And then you brag about it. How we even brag with irresponsible emotional management is one thing I can't get. Something that should make you sober, something that should make you feel, why am I doing this? You actually come and say, I will beat my child. Whatever it is that they want to say, let them say. I'm like, hey. Ignorance is one of the most terrible things that can happen to you. I think you will see yourself drown in it. You will drown in it. And you don't even know why you're drowning. All right? So it's just it. So you're irresponsible with your emotions. And until I used to be irresponsible with my emotions. So don't even think this is about you or this is somebody coming from one perfect place that they brought up from heaven. It's a lie. I'm not coming from any heaven. All right? I have been there where I told myself that I'm a parent now. That's how I'm supposed to. It's a lie. It's a lie. Please, that is you. That's a whole mess. I had to tell myself that and deliver myself through going to work on my emotions. Go and work on your emotions. Oh, by the way, the emotional intelligence class, the becoming an emotionally intelligent parent course. You can see the description in the description. All right, the link. The early bird offer ends today. You miss it today, you pay 18,500 tomorrow, and we're fine. And you will still be glad that you paid 20,500, which is the actual fee. So you better go and you better book register for that course. Work on your emotions. Somebody reached out to me, all right, and was telling me about the kind of home she grew up in. And the kind of chaos she described, I couldn't fathom it. And she was like, she said, I thought it was normal until I got into the inner circle, coach. And you started to say that this thing is not, don't normalize violence. How do you guys normalize violence and you say that that's how you parent, that's how you're supposed to be? How did we get to the point of normalizing these things? You normalize aggression, you normalize irresponsibility. And then you say, that's how I am. And that's even the worst part of it. That's who I am. That's how I am. It's a language of people who do not want to grow. That's how I am. Just take me like that. So some people even say I get angry quickly. Everybody knows that I get angry quickly. My children already know me. I get angry quickly. And your children are watching you. And tomorrow you actually want them to take responsibility for the things that they are doing that are not, being done right. Doesn't that hit you, in a certain way? If it doesn't hit you, it does to me. Because I believe that parenting is God's way of giving us feedback. And yet you're sitting back every day, you see your child fighting. You see your child fighting or even talking to the siblings anyhow, and doing all. And you are like, I don't like it. My children and my friend's daughter is always shouting on their siblings. How? You don't like it? How? She's giving you what you gave her. And then you will say, oh, that's how we talk in my house. Where all of us, we just raise our voices when we're talking. Hey. As in, that's how we are shouting. It's okay. We will be okay like that. That's how I am. It's a language of people who just want to be responsible with their growth system. You can't be like that. Yes, parenting is God's way of giving us feedback. Hey, when you're parenting, God will give you feedback with parenting and tell you, see the things that you're doing that you're not doing wrong. You're doing it right. And your children leave it out. So when parents come to me and say, oh, my child is this. My child does not know how to manage this time. Do you know how to manage your time? Do you know how to manage your time? That's the question. What do you use your time for? What do you use your time for? It's easy for us to point fingers at these children, but I say discipline is the parent's problem. Parent's problem, not the child's problem. Not the child's problem. So before you blame and point fingers at your child, ask yourself first. I saw a woman who was at all night. She was on Facebook. Very big distraction. From the beginning of that all night till the end. And then the son carried a tablet and was trying to fling it. She removed it from the son. I'm like, look at you, hypocrisy. Most many parents are hypocrites. You are in church, you are on Instagram for money tonight. Yeah. When your children come and say, what did you learn? You didn't learn anything. Lion of the tribe of Judah. It's all right. Let me continue. Go and work on your emotions. It's nothing to take pride on. Stop priding on things that don't make sense. It's just the same way that we pride on. I don't really have time for all these parenting things. I don't have time for parenting. All these things they're telling us to do, I don't have time for it. I should going to be playing with my child. I don't have time. Please. And you actually say it, and you actually say it so loud. As in, you say it, you actually brag about it. We brag with nonsense. It's just lack of knowledge, really. And that's why we brag with those things. All right? So if hitting your child, another thing is you lack parenting skills. Parents who lack appropriate parenting skills will always use aggression as substitute. Let me say that again so that you can put in your notes or in the comment section. Parents who lack appropriate parenting skill will often use aggression as a substitute. The moment you see being aggressive, you're substituting with what it is that you should. No. You're substituting with it. And it's a very key aspect. If hitting your child makes you feel so good, you feel so right, why are you guilty? Why do you feel guilty anytime you hit your child? Anytime you hit your child, it is a very, terrible thing. You hit your child, you feel so guilty. There's something wrong with it. Now, why do you feel so? Number one, you are confused. All right? Sorry about that. Number one, you're confused. That's why you're confused. So when you hit the child, you're confused. You don't even know what to do. You're like, what is happening here? Number two, it releases in you what you felt as a child when you were hit. That's why you feel bad. That's why you feel bad. Because there's something in you that you felt and you told yourself, you see this thing, it will never happen to me. I'll never do it to my children. And then you find yourself doing it. Trauma imprint. And when it happens, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. And you are, just fighting, struggling. Number C, it seems your frustration, it brings out your frustration on lack of knowledge. The moment you hit your child, you see yourself, you begin to feel bad because you now know that actually I didn't know what to do. That's why I hit my child. Now, what to do is never constant. What to do is never constant. Parenting changes as your child grows. And that's why seeking knowledge is a prerequisite, continuous seeking of knowledge. You find out that you were a parent who was not as aggressive. Your children were, getting good, everything was working, and all of a sudden, the child is now getting to 10, and the child is now trying to butt head with you, and you start beating, you are like, you are confused. That's why you're frustrated, you see the knowledge gap. Number D, you lack appropriate communication skills. People only become aggressive when they lose language. Help me write that in the comment section. People only become aggressive when they lose language. You lose language, you attack. You lose language, you throw a tantrum. You use language, you use your fists. Do you know why toddlers throw tantrums? They can't speak. Communication. So a toddler is trying to talk to you. He gets frustrated because he knows that anything he's saying is not being understood. So he babbles, and the next thing he throws himself on the floor. Communication gap. Violence is actually because of communication gap. Go and watch it. Any man that is aggressive towards his family, his wife, and he has issues with communication and emotions control. He doesn't know what to do. Anytime people lose language, they become aggressive. That's why you're toddlers. And that's why when people ask me, what do you do with toddlers who are always throwing tantrums? Simply put, teach your toddlers to communicate. The toddlers who can communicate better throw less tantrums. Go and check it anywhere and quote me anywhere. And that's why when you put your children on the screen, they don't develop language quickly. That's why children who watch the screen more throw more tantrums than those who don't. Because the screen actually inhibits communication, it inhibits language. It does. Because the brain is a meaning-making machine. It's not a machine that can learn on the screen. We don't even know that the brain doesn't really learn in that manner, especially for children that are that young on that screen. So it is important that you understand that these things, and it's all those you're beating your child, you lack communication, right? Communication is missing. That's why you're beating somebody. I've never been able to understand why people raise their hands, slap, hit, and I didn't grow up with it, so I don't really understand it a lot. But when I started studying, I realized that violence is, it breeds from lack of communication and emotions control. Once you do not have this tool, you become aggressive. And that's why there's so much aggression around us, so much lack of language. How do I get results if I don't hit my child? How do I begin to get results if I don't hit my child? Number one, you need to first of all work on your emotions. Please, do not come here and say one coach told you that you should just throw away all your kin. And first of all, work on your emotions. Work on your emotions. Your emotions are not in place. You can't practice what we're teaching you, no matter how much you try. You get frustrated. How do you begin to work on your emotions? Join the Becoming an Emotionally Intelligent Parent course. Join that course. It will save your life, literally, if there's anything like that. All right? Saving life. It will save your life. I've seen it save people's lives over and over again. So work on your emotions. Begin to ask yourself, what can I do differently? The good thing is we have helped you. That's the good thing. We have helped you. We have looked at what it is that parents are struggling with, and we have put mechanisms to help parents work on it. And the Becoming the Emotionally Intelligent Parent course is here, and it only airs once a year. Even if you attended it last year, trust me, it's a different curriculum. All right? And it is something that you want to pay attention to. It is the most important aspect of your parenting. The most important. I used to really pray. when I started parenting and I saw that, emotions control, my father would say that emotions control was something that he never got right. My father was a typical yeller, okay? And when I saw that, see, parenting characteristics are reflective. So you will do the same thing. It's trauma imprint. You will do the same thing your parents did, whether they are correct or, not correct. Whether you liked it or you didn't like it. I hated being yelled at. My father will yell. He won't beat, but he will yell. And I said to myself, I will never yell. When I became a parent, trauma imprint, I became a yeller. I prayed, I asked God. Until I worked on my emotions, nothing changed. From now till tomorrow, nothing. I worked on my emotions. I started to walk through my communication skills. See, growing up, our parents didn't know that these things were important. It was just be growing and be going. I didn't understand it. And by the time I got to a point, I realized that, okay, I'm really getting better. Until today, I say that emotional intelligence was a saving grace for me. Most of you will lose your spouses on the altar of that's who I am. My husband is a marriage counselor. So I have seen stuff. When I see, sessions, and most of it are hinged on lack of effective communication skills and lack of emotions control. And many marriages are suffering for this. So it's not just about your parenting. Even in your office, they tell you, say, everybody hates me in the office. Who told you? Who told you? Work on your emotions. Thank you, Joe. Said, God will not do for you what you can do for yourself. And that's the truth. Work on your emotions, your communication skills. Join the Becoming an Emotionally Intelligent Parent course. Join that course. It will change your life. Take responsibility. That's the best thing that can happen to you. Somebody said, my father can yell for the world. When I started having kids, I noticed I talk exactly like him. Tell me about it. And for you somewhere, you're going to be thinking, it's not possible. I can never be like that. In fact, my mom is a very calm person. My mom is very calm. I never heard my mom yell. Funny enough, she's here watching me. My mom doesn't yell. She doesn't hate. And you see, negative skill, behaviors are very easy for you to pick up. Trust me, it's so easy. I picked it up. I struggle with it. Oh my goodness. And then that time you just say, yes, that's how parenting should be. If you don't yell, you won't say it on social media. You run and say, if you don't yell, you cannot succeed. It's not all these things that all these things that we say. All of us are going to yell. We're going to continue to yell. It's just the same thing. You will lose relationships on the premise of that's who I am. Not just parenting. You will lose relationships. You will lose your spouse. Some of you are married and not married. The spouse have been shut down, just looking at you and just wondering, it's okay. Whatever it is, just do it. Work on your emotions. Your emotions are like, in fact, it's the engine room of your being. It's the engine room of your being. So my mother comes out of my mouth. Honestly. And let me also say, see, it's a process. I've been working on my emotions since the past 14 years that I got married. I haven't stopped. I'm still working on my emotions because I believe that there's still so much to do. It has helped me connect with people better. It has helped me understand people better. Even the work that I do, AI has helped me a lot. A parent reached out to me recently and said to me, the way you respond, responded, there was a back and forth. I said, the way you even calmly respond, I just want to learn. I said to the person, I didn't get here by error. I walked through it. We run a community of over 100,000 people on Facebook. And sometimes you see people coming with backlash when you post some things. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, yeah. Somebody reached out. There was a particular, back and forth when we posted something about people sharing religious, stuff, and they shouldn't be sharing. And then people, came and all of that. And somebody, the way I was responding to people, someone reached out to me, not someone, over 100 people reached out to me. It was 2 years ago, and said, your response to I don't know how you do it. You didn't get ruffled by anything anybody said. I said, because I understand that these people, where they are is not where I am. And kings do not throw themselves in the mud. There's a place you get to, you walk. It's not by mouth, so it's not by confession. It's work. A lot of it. You won't find me in those spaces. You won't find me online where people are trading words. No matter what you say to me, it's not possible. I've worked on myself. It will be like me fighting with a pig. When a pig falls on the ground, yeah? When a pig falls on the ground, what happens is the pig is in their normal habitats, right? But I'm not. So Nami go day inside that mud. I'm not ready to be in the mud. I'm a king. I have no business being in the mud. But the pig has every reason being in the mud, and it's fine. So it means that I'm not for the mud. So you just get to a place. It's a lot of work, right? But I have built myself to the point that you can't drag me to those spaces. It's not possible. It doesn't even matter what you say about me. I have nothing to prove to you. I told the parents in the inner circle, there's nothing to prove. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. And when you get to that point, then of course, you know that there's really, there's really nothing to prove to anybody. So you begin to, see life differently. You begin to see life differently. So yes, kings do not throw themselves on the mud. See, emotional intelligence is a level of self-awareness that keeps you on top on every endeavor of life. Parenting. So you don't need to, if you have emotional intelligence, you will never call your children and say, all the things I've been doing for you people. What's that? Or you call them and say, I carried you for 9 months. What's that? These are all, lack of understanding who you are in the first place. It's a big deal, and it's something we need to work on. Number 2, you need to learn the discipline that works. Most of us do not know the discipline that works. I won't say much about it. Get this book, The Discipline That Works. That's a book we're reading in February. Even if you're not in the academy, get it and start reading. It's available on Amazon. We have distributors in Lagos and so many other places. Number 6, join an accountability group. Join an accountability system. Join an academy. It's no longer something that you are to be begged to do. It is now compulsory to be in an academy, parenting academy. In these times, you are not there. Now yourself you do. Honestly speaking, because there's something that we call collective intelligence. You miss out on it. And there's a lot of learning. And you know why you need an accountability system. The truth of the matter is that you can't do this on your own. That's the truth. You get weary. You get weary. And it's when you get weary, did you have a place where you can actually come and not be judged? And then somebody will tell you, no, you can do this. Let's move. Do you have someone who is giving you instructions to fly? That's what we do in the inner circle. We deliver instructions. We're not interested in opinions. And because it's instructions that give you a flight to fly. People who fly planes don't fly on your opinions. They fly on instructions. Well-structured instructions. That's what the inner circle is about. Well-structured system that gets you to a place where you fly. You fly. For instance, I don't need an opinion for anybody to tell me that I'm a king, that I don't need to do some things. It's not your opinion. It's an instruction. And you just fly on it. Just fly on it. All right? Another thing that you need to do is learn communication skills. Communication skills. All right? In the inner circle, we're going to have a course on communication. And it's new. It's going to be the first time it's appearing in the inner circle. We're going to do it after, this session. It's an inner circle program, all right? Exclusive for we're thinking of opening it out to people outside to pay and be part of it. But of course, the inner circle parents are not going to pay So it is called resolving family problems through communication, through effective communication. Resolving family problem through effective communication. And that's, it's going to be a game changer, all right, for quite a lot of parents. I have taken communication classes, my husband and I, every single year for 14 years. This is our 14th wedding anniversary, and our communication is amazing. And it's not going to stop because we want to even get it even better. So we're working. We're going to start the year's own. So we understand what to say, what not to say, how to say it. All these, I can say anything. It's my husband. It's my friend. It's a very foolish thing to do. It's just you just not, it's my husband. I can just talk to him anyhow. I can just tell him whatever. I can just, after all, this is my friend. What does it matter? I can just chat whatever I want. So it's going to be an amazing system for the parents in the inner circle, because we had to incorporate that in our curriculum for the year. So we'll open it up for you. We'll open it up for you so that you can get it. Somebody said, is there a suggested time? My baby is just 8 months or more. Parents in the inner circle, answer her. If your baby is just 8 months and you have not joined the inner circle, please, you people should answer her. Answer her why she needs to be in the academy right now. If you join after now, you will struggle. Please, the best time to join is now. In fact, the best time to join is before you have a child. If it's possible for you, you are hearing me now. Register now. This is your best bet. You will know why. You will know why you needed to register now when you get it. As in, like now, you'll be so glad that you did. All right, that's the best time. Okay, the best time to register for inner circle is when you're hearing it now. As you're hearing it, there are single people in the inner circle. Oh yes, there are, and in fact, I envy them many of the times. Okay, another thing that you need to do, and I said parents who don't know how to communicate result in hitting their children. You can have a fight-free parenting. Fight-free. There's something we call fight-free parenting. All these fight is lack of communication. Lack of communication skills. So you can resolve your family issues using communication skills. All right. The next one is structured parenting. Structured parenting. Okay. Structured parenting. Somebody said, "Nakeke, they pursue you." Yes, some of us have 10,000 lions chasing us. Nurture and structure is the two most important part of your journey. Nurture and structure are the two most important part of your journey. Any parenting void of structure is headed for chaos. Let me say that again. Any parenting void of structure is headed for chaos. If you lack structure, that's what you're meeting. All right? It is important that you understand that. So, create structure and then nurture. Okay? Create structure and then nurture. These are the two most important parts of your journey. So structured parenting, your parents need to be structured. And you're asking me what structured parenting is? Join the inner circle. That's the most I can, tell you. When I do these free classes, a lot of parents will say, these free classes, your understanding of it becomes larger, better when you get into the inner circle. I'm just being sincere. I'm being sincere with you. All right. Yes, you're going to learn a lot, but you find out that there's a lot of gaps, missing links until you actually get into the inner circle. You begin to practice fight-free parenting. It's just this fight. Okay. In conclusion, don't normalize fights and conflict. Please do not normalize them. Because I've heard quite a number of parents say, it's normal now. Oh, it's not. Please don't. There's work to do. Whether in your marriage or in your parenting or with relationship with others. Oh, people even say if you don't fight with your friend, that means there's something wrong. And please don't normalize fights. Understand how to resolve conflicts. Resolving conflict is a skill. That's why people go to school to study conflict resolution. Conflict has a skill to it. Don't just tell yourself that's how I am. That's how we just get angry. My family, that's how we resolve issues. Please don't do that to yourself. Don't normalize it. There's nothing normal about fighting with anybody, whether your children and all of that. Learn how to resolve conflict. There's a way to resolve conflict. We're going to be teaching that at that communication class on resolving conflict and even how to give feedbacks. Most of us don't know how to give feedbacks because our communication is faulty. All right? Take responsibility for your emotions. Do not be irresponsible with your emotions. Anytime you lift your hand up to hit anybody, that's you being irresponsible with your emotions. It means that your emotions are controlling you. You are not the one controlling it. And there's not something wrong with things controlling you instead of the other way around. Flogging doesn't communicate or teach. Flogging doesn't revamp behaviors. Nobody has ever proven that after they were flogged, the behavior. You hear people say, "Oh, I stopped doing that thing." It doesn't revamp behaviors. Flogging strains your relationship with your child because it comes with a lot of aggression. People tell me, "Oh, you can flog without anger." There is nothing like flogging without anger. In fact, I'm going to teach it also, at the Becoming an Emotional Intelligent Parent, course. The truth of the matter is that for your brain, your hand to actually stand up, blood flow, we need to get in there. And what makes blood flow to get in there is the emotion called anger. It is never, ever, 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 ever normal. You can never hit anybody without a dose of anger. That's how the brain works. So don't let anybody deceive you and tell you, "Oh, there's a way you can beat the children when you are calm, then you now take the cane and then you hit the bar. Please, I beg. There's nothing like that. I have a medical background and I can tell you scientifically, nothing like that exists. The brain, that's how the brain works. It can't happen. You think about it. It cannot happen. Nobody deserves to be hit. Nobody deserves to be hit. Nobody, please. Do not do that. It is teach. And then flogging also teaches your children that violence is acceptable provided you're bigger than the person. Aggression in parenting, flogging, and all of that teaches your children that violence is acceptable provided you're bigger than the person. I linked, abuse, marital abuse, to flogging in parenting and aggression in parenting, abuse in parenting. Or people are like, "Oh, it's not the same." Think about it. Why is it not the same? We can only give what we have. We can only give what we have. And many of the times you find out, all right, you find out that you struggle when something is happening with your spouse because all you saw was aggression. And something has already taught you, the brain has taught you that violence is acceptable provided you're bigger than the person. What happens automatically is the push to use violence against that person. It's programming. Do not program your children in that manner. It's going to be a disaster. Please work on your emotions. Work on your emotions. Register for Becoming an Emotionally Intelligent Parent course today. And do yourself a whole world of good. That course is going to change the trajectory of everything you know about your parenting and even about yourself. The biggest form of awareness is self-awareness. The biggest form of awareness is self-awareness. If you're not self-aware, you can't raise anybody. Most of us do not know who we are. And that's one of the biggest tragedy that I've seen in parenting. How do we raise people when we have not raised ourselves? What the Intentional Parent Academy is there to do is to teach us how to raise people, how to raise ourselves before we begin to raise people. We lack the courage to do quite a lot because we've not raised ourselves. And this has impacted in who we have become. It has become. We don't know who we are. We can't come out boldly to say what it is that we can do. We have self-esteem issues. That there was a research about children who suffer self-esteem issues, and was in that list. It was so sad, but it's the truth. That's why we're not innovative. That's why we can see things differently. So raise yourself before you can raise anybody. If you don't heal yourself, you will bleed on people. I told the parents in the inner circle, if you do not heal yourself, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you. Let this be your watchword as you leave today. Let me say that again. If you don't heal yourself, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you, and your children inclusive. On this journey, your biggest form of system, accountability, everything is self-awareness, is growing yourself, is healing yourself. That's the only thing that can actually change the tides of time for you. Thank you so much. We're in good time today. Just 3 minutes ago. Do not, whatever it is that you put in your brain can never be taken out of you. And that is very key. Heal yourself. Take through this process and begin to pass yourself through a system now. If you want to change anything, like I tell the parents in the inner circle, pass yourself through a curriculum. And this is a curriculum for you when it comes to the emotional intelligence system. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. All right, before you go, I'm going to show you some of the books that you can get and start to read. While you book a slot to join the inner circle, join the emotional intelligence class, you can get books. We are going to read all these books in the inner circle. There's From Yelling to Calm. Somebody said to me today, oh, I read From Yelling to Calm. I'm still yelling. It's because your emotions are not in check. There's Resolving Sibling Rivalry. Stop telling me that sibling rivalry is normal. No. All right. It's common. It's not normal. Don't normalize it. All right. There's Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Volume 1 and Volume 2. You want to get copies of it. There is Love Your Child More. Copies of this. And this other one we're also reprinting. Okay. Before we send it out. Then there is The Discipline That Works. We just have, copies got in recently because we also ran out of copy. And then this will be a blockbuster of all time. All right. This is my biggest written book, Raising the Independent Thinking Child. I can't wait for us to review it in the inner circle. I am so excited about it. Parents who have been reading it, the reviews have been amazing. I didn't even doubt it. I wrote this book for like about 3 years or 2 before I could publish it. And then we have Connect to Correct, the all-time bestseller. All right, you read it, it reforms you every time you open it. From the page that says hello to you in this book to the very last word is transformational. That's the word. And that's one of the things that you need to work on. And then we also have Walking Your Child Through Puberty. Your child is going on puberty. Who is helping your child walk through puberty? Does your child really understand what they need to do? And then you have the Parenting Launch Plan. The Parenting Launch Plan is our parenting manual in the academy. Trust me. You want to deal with the Parenting Launch Plan and all of that. All right, so share with me, what is your favorite quote today? Put it right in the comment section. If you want to get every copy of this book, right, you pay what? 43,500. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And you can get copies in Lagos. We have distributors in Lagos. All right. You can reach out to this number and they'll share with you where you can pick up. You pick up in Lagos. For every other state, we don't have distributors yet. All right. But of course, you can still pay and pick up. All right. And then in those states. Thank you so much. Somebody says, my best quote is, if you don't heal yourself, you bleed on people who didn't hurt you, including your children. Yes. Pass through a curriculum. Thank you so much. Until you guys next Tuesday. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. You'll find me as Wendy Ologe. I'm the only Wendy Ologe ever. Any other one you see is counterfeit. All right. You can get me on Amazon if you want any of my books. And there are more books on Amazon. You can order there. And you can also, order using the links that you have in the description. Thank you so much, everybody. And see you again on Tuesday at 2 p.m. While you're waiting, all right, follow us on Instagram the Intentional Parents. Join line of amazing stuff that you want to read. All right. I love to write. Okay. I grew up writing. So of course it is something really interests me. Don't forget, register for becoming an emotionally intelligent parent course. Today is the last day. 15,500 going, gone. Please don't say we didn't tell you. We have extended this enough. Tomorrow it goes to 18,500, and then we keep going until it gets to 20,500. See you, and do have an amazing day.